inside of me, deep ingrained, is this: I'm going to do what I want to do, and I'm going to be who I want to be, and no one can tell me who I am, and no one can tell me who I'm capable of.
Hello, and welcome to Braving It with Tracie Renee, where stories of inspiration and strength are going to help you discover your brave.
Welcome to Braving It with Tracie Renee, and today on the show with me I have Melissa Strother. Welcome, Melissa.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, me too. When I first heard about you and your story, I had to get you on here because I just knew that you would be an inspiration to people and give them courage in certain areas of their life.
And that's one of my main goals in everything that I do. So
awesome, perfect then. So then it's a good fit. So I want to start off, I'm going to go back later and find out how you got where you are today. But I want to start right now with what's happening right now because it's very exciting. So Melissa is now, as you can see behind us, she is part of the Washington Wolfpack. But she is the first woman to play in and actually score points in the Professional Arena Football League. So that's amazing. And how does that make you feel?
I get asked that a lot. I think my first response is always, it doesn't matter so much to me that I'm the first, but I don't want to be the last. You know, it's about paving the way for anyone who wants to follow in my footsteps. I think at some point in my career I'll look back and be like, oh, this was cool and that was cool. And it's history. At the end of the day, it's history, so it's important. But it's more important to me to pave the way in everything that I do.
That's awesome. That's awesome, and that's why she's on here, you guys, because I wanted you to get to know her a little bit, and so she can inspire you to do the things that you want to do. So I was there for her first game with the Washington Wolfpack. She came in a couple games into the season. So let's talk about how that happened, because she was employed in LA. Go ahead and tell us what was happening at that point.
I was originally signed in Minnesota and was released after training camp. Went back to LA. Pretty much had said this was my 15th season. I think I'm done. Was moving into the path of coaching. I was working with the Rams, and then was out on the field training and got a call from JR and, hey, want to come kick for the Washington Wolfpack? And half of my brain was retired, half of my brain was like obviously still training. Yeah. So I was like, if I'm out here, I'm not done yet. So
that's awesome. So JR, who she's talking about, JR Wells, is the head coach of the Washington Wolfpack, and so he just, like, out of the blue, you had no idea it was coming?
Oh, no clue. I don't even know where they got the GM got film from somewhere. Maybe at some point I sent it. I don't remember it all. So to me, it was like I was just out there training because that's what I love to do. And the call was so random.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So how long did it take you to decide to go ahead and join the team?
On the phone call.
You knew?
On the phone call.
Okay.
Yeah. I knew players that played here. I knew previously about him and the way he was trying to build the organization. So it was almost immediate at the end of the conversation. It was like, yep, we got to drive up to Washington.
Wow. And she did. And she did it straight through, right? Because there was a game coming up or training or something. So tell us about that. How did that happen?
On the phone call, he was like, can you get here by tomorrow night? We have training and we have game Saturday. So 19 hours straight. I got here, checked into the hotel, went to training, and then we had a game on Saturday.
That's amazing. And that kind of just speaks to her strength and determination. Like her whole life she's lived like this. You'll hear more about that. But yeah, not many people would do that, have the tenacity, I guess is the word, to get in the car and just drive up here.
For me, it's just me. If I make a decision and this is what I'm doing, then it's all in. Like,
awesome.
Give it everything you got.
That's awesome. So her first game then up here, she went 3 for 3. So she's the kicker. As she mentioned, she went 3 for 3 on the extra points, and amazing. That's another record. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's just what I do. You do your job. I think to other people it's, oh, you went 3 for 3, and I'm like, that's what I'm supposed to do.
Exactly. I know, but I mean, I guess for me, it would be nerve-wracking. So before you go to set your kick, you have a little routine that you do. What are you thinking?
I don't, right? You
Okay.
When I'm coaching, you can't think and play at the same time. So I have John Carney, one of the greatest NFL kickers there is, taught me have very specific thoughts and stick with them. So as I take my step back and I look at my target, it's clear mind, look back to the spot, calm heart, I take my steps, trust in yourself.
Oh.
And then I do that every day in training. I do that every single game. So it's the routine that you build so that nothing feels unfamiliar. No matter the pressure on you, it all feels the same, and you're just ready to perform.
That's awesome. So right now I'm going to play a video for Melissa, and I'm going to get her comments afterwards. But this was at the watch party for the game. So they just played in Kansas City, and we were all back home here in Washington having to watch it at a party. Set up the last kick of the games. Where were you guys? What was happening?
So we were down by 6. They scored. They had the ball. Defense had a huge stop. 10 seconds left. One throw, downfield, touchdown, and then we have the PAT to win it.
Right, with like 4 seconds,
4 seconds left, yeah.
All right, 4 seconds left. Here's what's happening at the watch party. And we'll go from there.
You can do it, Melissa! Come on, Melissa! Come on, baby!
That's amazing.
Okay, so you get the idea of how we were celebrating. What did it feel like for you being on the field right then?
There's sometimes when you just know. It's funny, before the game started, the officials were coming out with the opposing team, and those uprights were crooked, and so they were talking, and one of the officials said, "Oh, if this game comes down to a PAT on this net," and at that moment I was like, "You just spoke it to existence. Like, this is gonna happen." Yeah. And then we go through the warm up, and we go, as soon as they scored, and it was 46-40, I was like, here we go. Defense is about to get a stop. We're going to get the ball. We're going to score a touchdown. I'm going to kick the PAT. We win the game. So when I had already played it out in my mind, so in the moment, very calm, very peaceful, very focused. Like, it's an amazing feeling when you're in the zone as an athlete. And that was just one, I had already seen it happen, so I knew what was going to happen, and it was just smooth, easy, put it up and through.
That's amazing. So visualizing is a huge part of athletics, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I do it every single day. I meditate, I manifest, I visualize. If you can see it, you can do it.
That's awesome. So now, let's go back, okay? So you played soccer, right? You were playing soccer when someone discovered you for football, is that correct? Okay, tell us about that.
Yeah, I was playing soccer at a specific university. One of the administrators played football and came and recruited me when I was done, and at the time I was going over to Europe to play soccer, and then the professional league here fell apart. All they went to Europe, and I was like, well, all these pros, 5-year pros, just took my spot, and I was like, I like football, let's go see. And so went out, very first practice, fell in love, and been playing ever since.
That was 13 years ago, right?
This is my 15th season. I also missed COVID, and there's been seasons we missed. So that was in 2005.
Okay. So, but you weren't originally a kicker on that team. What positions did you play?
I was wide receiver, free safety for 13 years. I did kicking and punting, but I never really trained for it. Started training in like 21 as like an actual kicker to learn to do what I had been doing, but had no clue what I was doing.
Wow. So that's how you got into football, and you love it. Mm-hmm. Better than soccer?
Oh, soccer's my true original love, but football has definitely taken over.
Okay, all right. So let me ask you, how in the world you stay so determined all this time? Like, where do you get that strength?
I don't know if it's strength. I think it really is just who I am, even as a kid. But my mom's favorite story is when I have a twin brother, and when we were little, we both wanted to play baseball. And they said, no, you can't play, you're a girl. Girls don't play baseball. And so I went back the next day and the next day and the next day. And it was like a month of them saying, no, girls don't play. And then eventually I wore them down. I was like, how did it end up happening? She's like, I think they were sick of you and they just let you play. And then I was one of the top players on the team. So I think just inside of me, deep ingrained, is this: I'm going to do what I want to do, and I'm going to be who I want to be, and no one can tell me who I am, and no one can tell me who I'm capable of. And there's doubt, and there's fear, and there's all those things you have to overcome. That's life. But for me, that's what it comes down to. Like, if I want to do something, I am going to find a way to do it, and forget the people who tell you no.
Oh, yeah. So speaking of, have you had any like negativity regarding? Okay. So tell us about that.
There's been a lot. There's some, social media, keyboard heroes. There's been a lot. I've gotten death threats. I've gotten crazy stuff online. My Instagram is like, I'll gain 200 followers just so they can DM me negative messages and then they peace out. It's just, when you put yourself in the spotlight, there's a target that comes with it. But for all the negativity, there's the positivity that's so much more overwhelming. I used to let the negative get to me. My first season playing, it was rough. It was very difficult mentally, emotionally. It really wore me down. And I had to learn, you can't take it personally. These are strangers. They don't know me at all. What they have to say says more about them than it says about me.
Yeah.
And so it was a huge learning curve and learning process to go, they can say all this, but it doesn't change who I am. And it doesn't change what I'm doing or why I'm doing it. And then you have moments like after the Southwest Kansas game, this little girl came up to me and was talking about how she wanted to play football. And her PE teacher kept telling her no. And we had this 10-minute conversation of basically me saying that, be who you want to be and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. And it's those moments where it's all that negativity, that moment's what matters. All the other stuff they have to say, it doesn't matter.
Right. That's amazing. I don't know that a lot of people can do that. It's hard for people, I think, to not worry about other people. But you've just kind of figured out how to do it. And
I learned the hard way. I had to learn the hard way. Because if I were to take in every negative comment, I would be broken. It would break me. It's too much. And so you have to learn to put up a shield, to take in the positive and just turn away the negative. And part of that is knowing who I am. When you know yourself and you have that self-awareness of, that's not me. I don't know why you're saying that, but that's not me. I'm not like that. And again, it was just a huge learning process. So I'm here now because of all the things I've been through, really.
Yeah, right. It's not always easy, but you overcame and you continue to overcome. So great. So speaking of encouraging people, you have a couple books that you've written. Why don't you tell us a little bit about those and how people can get them?
They're all on Amazon. Okay. So Play for Her was written during, it's crazy like a movie. It goes from COVID to Women's Professional League that I was originally going through, and then fraud and stolen money, to ending up in Rapid City, to getting kicked out of the hotel because of their owner stole all the money. So I wrote it as a journal so people could follow along the journey with me.
Okay.
And some of it's rough. Some of it was tough to write. Some of it was tough to read, and I was the one living it. But it was such a huge learning lesson, and I think so much of my strength and my courage comes from all those things that I went through in that time. Then What, the Why, for When, the How is lessons that I've learned through sports. So from being a kid in sports to all the way through college, the U.S. national team, it's all the lessons I learned that apply to every day of life. And it's about finding your greatness within by going through these lessons. Awesome. And Diamond in the Rough is rules to live by. Just your general set as like a motivational book. So you read these rules to live by, and then you meditate on them for the week, and like gratitude, self-awareness, all those kind of things.
Which is all the things that probably helped get you where you are. Yeah. So you guys can find out more about her in those books and order those on Amazon, as you heard. So one last question. Okay, so we're going to have a lot of people watching this, young people, old people. It runs the gamut. What is one piece of advice you would give somebody right now?
Don't let the world change you. Change the world.
And on that, we are going to say goodbye. Thank you. You're amazing. You inspire me. Oh, and wait, one more thing. Her email is, what's the first part of it?
Rise, grind, repeat.
Rise, grind, repeat. So on that night, you guys go rise, grind, and repeat. Thanks, Melissa.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Braving It with me, Tracie Renee. My hope is by hearing other stories of brave, it will help propel you forward into doing the same thing. If you've enjoyed this episode, I hope you will follow and subscribe. Remember, brave begets brave. The more you step out in courage, the more courage you will find.